Hello and welcome to another episode of You Have to Watch This. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Alan.
And I'm taking the lead here today since Alan's voice is a little weak.
I feel horrible today.
I'm actually surprised you're still okay with me coming over to do this.
I almost canceled, but then I slept all morning. I was like, I can't cancel now.
You got plenty of sleep.
I wanted to get this out because we've had some technical issues, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, no, we've had about 2 to 3 podcasts that kind of never made it to
We have 2 podcasts
fruition.
that are completely gone. One's unusable.
Yeah.
Because you can't hear my microphone at all.
No.
You can barely hear it, and I can't fix that in post. The other one didn't save right. Like, it just did not export. So,
yeah.
And that was the Halloween movie you had never seen, which was Halloween Town.
Which was Halloween Town. And a quick synopsis for people who really wanted to know my opinion.
He did not like it.
As an adult, watching it on your own, not so much. If you grew up with it, you love it. That's pretty much what we kind of came down to.
Yeah.
So.
And I want to try to do Red October again because that one was fun.
Yeah.
I'm not happy that we lost that one.
Well, we can always redo that one. That's fine.
Yeah, so stay tuned. That might happen. Might not. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We've got some other exciting
We
things
have to go through
on,
some more movie titles.
But today is actually Halloween.
Yes.
Like, we're recording this today.
I'm in my orange and black striped sweater.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
3, 4, shut the door. Okay, I'm sorry. That's not the movie we're going to talk about.
I'm probably going to go take a nap after this, so I don't need to be thinking about Freddy Krueger before this. But we're not talking about Nightmare on Elm Street. Did we do that one?
No, we didn't do that one.
Because I know my wife made me watch that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that wasn't for this.
Today we're talking about Halloween.
Halloween.
Not the remake that just came out.
No.
The original 1978. Is that the year?
Well, is the new one really a remake?
Well,
did they
no,
say
it's not a remake.
Was?
It's a direct sequel to this one.
Yes.
So,
which is
originally I had wanted to do both in one episode, but that did not happen.
No.
Because I had just watched this 2 days ago and have been sick since.
Yeah.
So, yes. So 1978, John Carpenter's Halloween.
Halloween, which John Carpenter's has made a name for himself since. Because this movie was his like, here I am.
Yeah.
This is what I can do. All of you are going to hate me.
Not the first John Carpenter movie that we've talked about.
No, it's not.
Because we did talk about The Thing, which we'll get into later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 1978's Halloween with Michael Myers.
Yes.
So you're taking the lead on this. So take the lead.
Okay, I'll take the lead. So I had seen this before. Now, I haven't seen it in a while, so I rewatched it. I saw it back when I was younger, like younger teens, like not younger kid. And I definitely saw a network broadcast of this originally, so I didn't realize how many boobs were in it, which really aren't that many comparable to his later movies, but we'll get to that later. I've always liked it. I mean, for being as old as it is, it holds up. I mean, it's still, even though it's the corny slasher movie, because that's really what it is, it's good. I mean, to be honest, it's a good film. Like, it's a good put-together movie. What did you think of it? Because I know the horror genre really isn't your thing.
Yeah, horror's not really my thing. Because when we sat down and tried to come up with movies for me to make you watch that you haven't seen in the horror genre for Halloween, we came up with Halloween Town. So, horror's not really my thing. But my wife's really into it.
Yeah.
So she had watched this when she was like 9, and she was like, I don't know why my dad let me watch this when I was 9, but he did. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It definitely still holds up as a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Because when I'm going in and out of I had trouble watching this because I kept dozing off. Not because of that. Not because of the movie, just because I was
You
exhausted.
have a horrible working schedule. That's why you keep on dozing off.
Yeah, and I was working overnights this past weekend, so that I was adjusting from that, and but I kept dozing off. I had to actually go back and rewatch the last 20 minutes of the movie because I missed all of it.
Yeah.
So but I woke up for the very end when the very last scene I caught, and I was like, okay, I'm awake, and my wife thought I was awake for the whole thing. And then I had to tell her last night, I have to go back and rewatch the last 20 minutes of that. She's like, you're kidding me. I kept trying to wake you. I was like, I know.
At that point, it's better just to reschedule because whenever my wife and I try to watch movies and either I'm dead tired and I'm falling asleep or she's dead tired and she's falling asleep, we just decide, we'll watch this later. We turn on something else. Like if I'm the one falling asleep, she puts on whatever she wants to put on and I go to bed, or vice versa, which usually ends up being a hockey game or Futurama at this point.
Yeah. This, well, I had to watch it this night because I thought I was going to be at work, but no, I called off sick. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It definitely has some scares in it that still work and still hold up.
And the death scenes in it, like, they don't, like, they're simple because, again, this was the first Halloween. This was the first time John Carpenter was actually doing stuff like this.
Yeah, it's very low budget.
So it's, exactly. It's very low budget, so it's not like the spraying of blood. They don't have, for the money they had to get the homes, to get the street, to get the actors, to get the police, to be able to use, the local police and everything for the movie. They didn't have the money to like make a dummy to spill its guts out. But they made up for that because even though they're not bloody, they're still hard to watch. Because one thing I hate about a lot of movies and death scenes, when somebody gets strangled, they struggle for like 5 seconds and then they're dead. When in reality, it's like 25, 30, 45 to a minute. Well, 25, 30, 45 seconds to a minute of struggling, because that's how long it takes for you to pass out. Or it could be even longer than that, especially if you're just going for the airway. So, I mean, the fact that they had like a 30-second, scene where he's strangling the first victim in the car, like, and her struggling like that, that's hard to watch.
Yeah.
So, which one was it for you?
Which one was what?
Like the one death scene where it kind of went from like, okay, this is an older horror movie to, wow, that's actually disturbing.
I think, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to remember.
You had the one in the car, and you had the guy who goes downstairs to get beer, and where he gets stabbed with a knife and gets hung pretty much. And then you have the other girl.
One in the car.
The one in the car?
That jump scare of him popping up out of the back seat. I really enjoyed. Like, I was like, oh, okay. He was there. And then the one in the kid, like, they were all good.
Oh yeah.
The opening scene though, like when he's just like, you get his point of view, and then he puts on the mask and then kills his sister.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that was just kind of creepy. I think the biggest thing I liked about this movie and what made it the creepiest is just the music, like the music itself,
which
really
John Carpenter
adds.
did.
Yeah, John Carpenter.
He just didn't make the film and direct it. Like, he composed the music, which was like something you don't really hear of anymore.
No, you don't, because it's not like George Lucas is scoring like Empire Strikes Back. Or Spielberg's doing whatever the hell Spielberg's doing. But yeah, I really like the music, and like you and I were making jokes before we started the episode about like, because my door was locked and you had to wait outside, and like, I hear creepy music playing.
So it's when it comes to this movie in particular and this type of horror, like, again, I mentioned that it's more like a slasher movie before, because you've got the weapon's a knife, the guy's wearing a mask, he's creepy, he doesn't talk. Like, you can line up a bunch of movies that have the same type of antagonist, just different costume and name. So like this, is part of that whole genre. But where did you find the suspense in it? Because it's one thing with horror, and one of the reasons why I like it, because it's such a huge genre, because you can fit any type of storyline and any type of background story into it. So where within the storyline, where do you think that like suspense was coming? Like,
I think the suspense in this movie came from like the long drawn out takes, because there's a lot of that. Like, just not much is going on, and then there's not much sound.
No.
Like, and that's why, like, when they just start hearing him breathe, I think that, like, the long, drawn-out silence is where the suspense comes in.
And that's one of the things that I forgot about, actually. With him, you can hear him breathing when they're going from his point of view in the mask. Like, that was good.
Well, not even just then. It's, like, throughout the whole movie. Like, even watching it on my phone, I was picking that up. Because that's something that you might not even hear if you're watching it on a TV, but like even on like you in a typical movie, but in this one, like it's so in your face because the rest of it's so quiet.
Yeah.
I did have one issue with this movie that I told my wife like 20 minutes into it, and I'm watching it, and I just turned to my wife, like, I know this is in the 70s, but I can't wrap my head around Jamie Lee Curtis as a teenager. Like, to me, she's still...
How old is she how old was she in that film?
I don't know, but she's like at least in her 20s. Okay, so she was born...
So we're looking this up.
Yeah. Of course, my phone's being slow. Let's just say she's 20. Okay, it doesn't matter what her age actually was because I don't have time to go through and edit this dead air out.
Gotcha.
Even though she's playing a teenager, like I still picture her as like 40-something.
Yeah,
Jamie Lee Curtis that I grew up with, like Fish Called Wanda, Jamie Lee Curtis, or Trading Places and Freaky Friday. Like that's what I picture.
Yeah,
and I think part of the reason that I couldn't wrap my head around her being a teenager is she sounds the same.
Yeah.
Everyone else who's playing a teenager sounds like a teenager. Like their voice is a little higher.
Not just that. She's
but
also...
her voice was just... It's still the same. Her, like she could have done the dial... Like she could do that dialogue in place of the Activia commercials and it would still be the same voice.
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you mean. Plus, I mean, it doesn't help that her character is like you've got the two preppy hormonal teenage girls that she's friends with,
and then she's knitting.
Like she's like, it's really like, it's for the 70s. Actually, one of the reasons I like movies that show the period of the time, and I feel like this movie did a good job of playing on the characters, of just showing how different teenagers were. You have what you would consider more modern, still in high school, starting to sleep with their boyfriends, sneaking out of like class, stuff like that, smoking pot, or just doing stuff they shouldn't be, or considered back then to be like horrible things that teenage girls shouldn't be doing. And then you've got her, which is kind of what you would depict as like the 50s, 60s stereotype of like a teenage girl. Like, never, like she's constantly babysitting. She never gets in trouble. She's a bookworm. Like, there's like the characters are so different to a point where it kind of annoys me. It's like, how, granted, they live close to each other. Yeah. But how are they friends as teenagers?
Well, and the other thing is, like, it plays on the horror stereotype of the virgin.
True.
And I don't think it's the first movie to do that. But,
no, it's not the first, and it definitely wasn't the last.
Because they address it early on, like she doesn't want to talk to boys, and both of her friends are like, yeah, boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, it plays on that too. So this is what John Carpenter thought a virgin in the 70s would be.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking...
He probably turned up a notch or two.
Yeah.
So.
Well, speaking of that, on my... I had to run some errands this morning. Okay. And I was listening to 1A on NPR. And for people who don't know what 1A is, it's the number one with the letter A. If you go to the 1a.org, you can go to the page of this radio show. They had John Carpenter on this morning.
Yeah.
And it was actually really cool. And they were talking about this movie, and I was like, "Oh my God, what's just the fact that this is happening the day that we're doing this for this movie? It was just perfect timing." It it should be up right now to be able to listen to. But what they were going over was why he got involved with the sequel.
Yeah.
And he wasn't approached by it. He actually asked to be part of it because they knew that the film was being made, and he figured, well, if they're going to be doing this, on their own, then I want to be involved.
Yeah.
And so that's how that happened. It also, the people who put up the money to make the first one are the same people to put up the money to make the second one.
Oh, really?
Believe it or not. Yeah. So when I say that they were going to make it regardless if he was going to be involved or not, they were going to make it, and it was going to be released if he was involved or not.
Yeah.
Which is the really cool thing, that he actually stuck his neck out and said, "Hey, I want to be I want to be part of this."
Because the whole thing is like the new one doesn't address any of the sequels.
No, and it's because if I'm right on what I heard this morning, I don't believe John Carpenter was that involved with any of the other Halloweens that were made after the first one. But he got paid for all of them, believe it or not. He likes every single one of them.
He wrote the second one.
Yeah. But he gets paid for all of them. Every single Halloween that's ever come out, he's been paid for. Just because it's his property. But yeah, it was just it was cool to it was cool to hear that. And then he was also talking about he was asked the question about the meaning of like the storylines, particularly about the horror films that he made past this, and what type of meaning, what type of story he put into it.
Yeah.
Or the commentary, whether it be social commentary or political commentary. It was a really good interview. It's about 30 minutes to 25 minutes.
Yeah, they usually do like 20 minutes.
It was really good, so I highly recommend people to go
so
and
check that out
on
over on
1A.org.
Yeah. And check out NPR.
Which is who broadcasts the show.
So after Halloween, all right, go back. After Halloween, we had a TV movie. He did The Fog, Escape from New York, and then The Thing. And he teases The Thing in this because the movie they're watching is the original Thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. Just knowing that he goes on to direct a remake of The Thing.
It shows how much he liked it.
Yeah.
It shows how much he liked that storyline.
So it shows that he was working on that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Other horror movies by him, Christine.
I love Christine.
Prince of Darkness, They Live, which I've never seen.
Ooh.
Yeah. So eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah. So just some IMDb trivia, because I think we should start doing this as a thing. Had a budget of $300,000, went on to make $47 million. In 2008, that would be the equivalent of making $150 million. So it's one of the most successful independent films of all time. Good to know.
I think it deserves that. It rightfully deserves
Jamie Lee
that.
Curtis was hired as the ultimate tribute to Alfred Hitchcock, who had given her mother, Janet Leigh, legendary status in Psycho.
There we go.
Which I forgot that was...
Family of Horror.
Yeah. And going back to what we were talking about before, of the female leads, only Jamie Lee Curtis was actually a teenager at the time of filming. So she was a teenager, everyone else wasn't. And she was the only one I couldn't buy as a teenager. And part of the reason the Halloween theme is so weird is that it's written in the 5/4 time signature.
Ooh, okay.
So that's part of the reason.
Do
you remember time signatures and what that means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit of trivia for you.
Okay. So when it came to other aspects of the film, was there anything that stood out to you? Just little funny things that...
I mean, there wasn't much that was funny.
Well, okay. Well, like things that just stood out, like whether it be just like the times or something goofy that you noticed.
The weirdest thing about this movie was the fact that the doctor's like, you know what? I think he's here, so I'm just gonna wait at the house for him the whole night, and then like 5 hours later, he turns behind him and just sees the car that's been there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that was weird. But I did like the doctor scaring off the kids from the house. Like that's probably the only funny moment in this movie.
Yeah.
But other than that, the way that they use Michael Myers and just having him be in frame and then disappear, like that was, I enjoyed that because that's always fun. Like to have something there 1 second and then gone the next.
Michael's a marathon runner.
Yeah.
Because you just know, and he's the quietest fast runner I ever heard of. I mean, I've seen.
Yeah.
Better than Batman.
That's better than Batman.
In that one regard.
Yeah, okay.
In that one of like being there then disappearing. Better than Batman.
Are you talking about like actual Batman or like the Pete Holmes College Humor Batman? I read it. Yeah, we trust him.
I'm going for when he showed up and Commissioner Gordon turns around and he's gone and Gordon goes, oh, he does that a lot. Just in general, like that. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, about this movie, not really, because I feel like this movie is pretty much popular enough that almost all of our listeners have seen it.
Yeah.
If not, you've seen parts of it. You know the lore behind it. What I want to know, though, is about your your feeling about horror, about the horror genre, and. Believe me, I've got, everybody has tastes, and it could just be down to it's just not enjoyable. And I just want to know the whole horror thing.
I don't enjoy it.
Okay.
It's that growing up, it was never something I was really exposed to.
Okay. Which
So,
I could actually understand now that you say that.
in the few horror movies that I've seen in theaters, have not been good.
Okay.
Like I saw The Fifth Kind. Or The Fourth Kind.
Ugh.
Like I saw that in college because I think we went to see something else and it was sold out, so we had to go see that.
Okay.
But like I don't have a good track record with seeing horror in theaters. It's not something I seek out.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I object to.
Okay.
Like if my wife wants to watch a horror movie, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll give that a shot. Or if I hear a lot of good things about something like Get Out.
Yeah.
Like I'll seek that out and watch that. And I think there's been a lot of good horror movies. I think the horror movies I liked the most were the Saw movies, and it wasn't for the torture porn.
Yeah.
I need to make that clear. It was
good. I don't work with the psycho.
I liked how at the end of each one they went back and showed you how it was done and all the way it was connected and how they fooled you and like the whole thing. You've seen the first Saw, right?
Yeah. I've seen the Saw
the whole
movies.
thing where Zepp wasn't actually Jigsaw, but they made you think he was the whole time. And then those reveals, I just love those and how they're connected throughout all of them.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the latest one yet, but I enjoyed that aspect of the Saw movies. I could have done without the torture porn, but it is what it is. Like you need that for that movie.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't hate. It's not that I hate horror. It's just not my favorite.
Okay.
Like, give me a good action adventure thriller.
Yeah. Okay.
But when it comes to like jump scares, like not my cup of tea. But more of a thriller, like this kind of is. Like this has jump scares, and I'm not opposed to a jump scare. But it's I'd much rather just have the thriller aspect to it.
So have you seen Gone Girl?
No.
Okay. Gone Girl, I wouldn't consider that horror. It's more suspense. Even maybe some people might consider it horror. But so that movie's more just drawn out. Like
Yeah.
it's not a jump scare. Every time you learn something new about what's going on, it's more dread. And as the movie goes
Yeah.
on, there's more dread on top of dread on top of dread until the very end where
Till the very
your
end,
jaw's on the floor.
Till the very end when Ben Affleck's cast as Batman, and then he regrets his decision automatically.
I'm going to forget that you said that. Anyway, so but what you're not a fan of is just the gore jump scare
Yeah,
type
I
thing.
don't need the blood and guts. To
Okay.
oh, this is the bloodiest movie ever. Not going to sell me on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
if it's a good story and good acting and good everything, like if something's outstanding about the last horror movie I saw in theaters was A Quiet Place.
Did you like that
I
one?
did like A Quiet
Okay.
Place because I like John Krasinski as an actor.
Yeah.
Because The Office.
Yes.
And I had heard really good things about the sound design
Yeah.
in this movie because it was quiet.
Yeah.
The whole thing is they can't make noise. So you're in the theater and it does this really cool thing where it makes you not want to make noise.
Yeah.
So like,
Because you wanna
I
hear.
try to eat candy and like take them out slowly. And, so like I really enjoyed that. Have you seen it yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Other than that, yeah, that's the last horror movie I saw.
Okay. I figured this would be a good topic because I mean, it is Halloween.
Yeah, and even with like A Quiet Place is even a good example of I wasn't going to see it. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go see it in theaters. Like, oh, I'll check that on DVD. But then my siblings were like, hey, we're going to go see A Quiet Place. You want to come? I was like, yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm invited to go, I'll probably go.
Yeah.
If I'm interested. But yeah.
Okay.
What's your take on horror? Like, what do you like in a horror movie?
And obviously you know this, and anybody who's listened to the podcast knows that my niche in horror is sci-fi horror.
Mhm.
Alien, Predator, Event Horizon,
Alien versus Predator.
Alien versus Predator. Oh, I love that movie. Both of them, by the way.
Okay.
I'm not
I never saw
gonna.
the sequel.
The sequel, it's not a good movie, but I
Oh,
like
yeah.
it. I like it. But you've got Event Horizon
Okay.
in there, and you've got some other ones. My big thing is horror based on storyline, on situational horror, and just the whole thing of like being trapped and can't get away. I also like many other types. The one part of it that I'm not a fan of is just the gore
Yeah.
horror. I'm not like people talk about, like bloody this and bloody that, and like you can see like his guts being ripped out, or this happens or that happens. Like I'm not a big fan of it. Like the movie 7.
Okay. I haven't seen 7.
Okay, in the movie 7, The Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah.
There's a person that gets murdered.
Yeah, I know what it's
Yeah.
about.
For that.
They kept pushing in college that one of the screenwriter for that went to Penn State, so that was like their...
Yeah, that was
was like,
that makes sense.
Somebody went through this and they wrote 7.
Yeah. Well, that
What's in the
person was
box?
disturbed. Anyway, the storyline for 7 I loved. And the character development I loved. And the effects. What I didn't like was the gore-ish part of it. Which, to me, it's not my cup of tea. I don't need it. But one thing that I actually do really like, besides the whole sci-fi thing, is Supernatural.
Okay.
Insidious.
I saw the first Insidious, and that one wasn't bad.
Yeah, so like Insidious would be like a modern example of it. There's a lot of other ones. But it just, when I was younger, I didn't really care for horror that much. But as I got older, it's something that really grew on me.
Okay. So what's your favorite horror movie of all time?
Ooh. I'm going to try to stay away from the sci-fi horror movies. And this is horrible because I can't remember the name of it right now. But there's a movie where it's a Jewish spiritual antagonist.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it right now, and I feel horrible about that.
I'll tell you right now.
It's basically a Jewish exorcism movie.
I'll tell you right now. I don't have a favorite horror movie.
You don't?
No. It's one of those
Well,
things.
this one can be
people,
for now.
People have asked me, and I just don't have one. I don't. It's not that I don't care enough, but I don't care enough.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough.
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
The Possession.
Okay.
The Possession is my favorite horror movie. But yeah, no, I mean, this movie can be your favorite for now.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
fine.
take that.
I'll make sure nobody calls you a hipster.
Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on? We're at like half an hour, so.
Yeah. I guess not.
So, that being said,
Yeah.
that's the episode for today.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Yes.
What's your Halloween costume this year?
Didn't really have.
You didn't really have one?
I didn't really have one, but today I'm wearing a old Element sweater that's black and orange, striped like Freddy. But
his was not black and
it was green and
green and maroon.
yeah, but just the design is a compliment
it's very
with the
Freddy
Halloween colors. But I've had a skeleton in the passenger seat of my car the entire month.
You have
Yeah,
McCoy.
McCoy.
We named him McCoy.
we named him McCoy, Mr. Bones.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, because my wife and I have been moving all month, so we haven't been able to decorate. Haven't really been able to think about it.
Yeah.
So at work, we were putting out Halloween decorations. It practically a 5'6" tall plastic human skeleton. Bought it, put it in the passenger seat of the car. It's been there ever since.
That's cool.
It's going to stay as long as I don't
yeah.
get yelled at. It's going to.
It reminds me. I guess my wife's work did like a not Easter, Halloween Secret Santa type thing.
Interesting.
So she came home with a bucket full of candy last night.
Yeah.
Most of it she won't eat, so it's mine, which is great.
There you go.
But it also had a skeleton of a dog.
Plastic.
No, real. No,
Ooh.
it was plastic.
Oh, I was going to say, that's weird.
It's like McCoy, but it's like a Chihuahua. It's creepy as shit. And I was like, she's gonna love that. So,
Yeah. Speaking of Halloween, though, and living in a college town,
you see it
it's
more than
been
I do.
noisy.
Yeah. Back when I was in college, I would dress up as Batman and just walk around the streets on Halloween and mess with people. Like at one point, I was at a crosswalk, and on the other side of the street there was a Joker.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went up to the Joker and I grabbed him by the coat. I was like, "Where's Dad? Where's Harvey Dent?" And he's like, "I don't know, man. I don't know." And then we just had this moment of like mutual respect for each other. Like,
Nice.
It was fantastic. And at one point, somebody gave me free beer.
There you
Like,
go.
they're like, "Batman, you want a beer?" I was like, "Yes, I want a beer." So I didn't
That's
want to be
good.
carrying around a beer downtown, so I just stuck it in my bat suit.
Everybody should have a free beer story. I know I have mine. It has nothing to do with Halloween, so I'll save it. But everybody should have a free beer story, and I've got one too, but I'll save it for
I
later.
also have a free wine story from.
How'd you end up getting free wine?
So, at one point, Devin and I, friend of the show, Devin,
Yeah.
him and I were walking downtown, and we walked down the main street where my apartment was, and we turned the corner to go on like one of the parallel streets. Like there's one street that goes west, one street goes east. So we're going down towards like where all the people are partying, and on the corner by the trash can is just a bottle of wine. And so we're like, "Oh, hey, free wine. Like, let's just take that." So we're walking around with this bottle of wine, and we're like, "We'll take this back and drink it. Like, why not?" So we're walking around with this wine, and these people come up to us like, "Hey, how much do you want for that bottle of wine?" So we were able to get like $20 off of them, and then we went to see Ted the next day on their dime. It was fantastic.
There you go.
I think that was Arts Fest weekend. So Penn State's fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stories.
But living at State College, you would.
Yes. Sometimes I miss it, and then other times I don't. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a lot better of a college town than here.
Yeah. Well, this is a small state school.
Yeah.
It's not a giant
but
university.
there are other small state schools that are better, have better college towns than this.
Oh, true.
But anyway, to all of our listeners, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Ryan and I are going to sit down and talk about what we're doing next. So we can't really tease you for next week.
No, we
for
can't.
what he's going to watch for the first time.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that we lost 2 episodes, so the rotation still works.
Yeah.
So that's something at least.
Yeah.
Still sucks.
Yeah, it does,
but-
but these things happen.
Yeah. So for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan,
And I'm Ryan.
and we'll see you next week. We hope.
We hope. Put down the knife.